week 6 lab assignment. Um, it's going to be a mixture of easy and a mixture of a little bit of more getting used to CSS now. In the first video, I mentioned the chapters that we're going to be reading, chapters 3, chapters 10, and chapters 11. I've even highlighted some of the areas that I want you guys to read further in, especially on lesson 3, and then lesson 10, how to start formatting those divs. So your assignment shall be a 3 web page series, and they're all going to be tied into a CSS style sheet. So it's going to be a total of 4 pages, and don't be fretting. A lot of it will be redundant, and the reasoning behind it is that our CSS style sheet page is going to be doing most of the work for you. So you're not really going to be creating 4 separate pages, but you're going to be creating 2 and an additional 2 that are just going to have the same elements from the first 2 and carry it on over. And there's nothing really out of the ordinary. It's just a little bit more of getting used to our new formatting or our new code that we have to start learning now, which is CSS. So week 6 HTML, as you can see from our page here. This is my assignment page for week 6. So we're going to go ahead and start formatting everything that you've learned on InStyle CSS. We're going to strip it from HTML, and I'm going to be showing you exactly how we're going to be doing that. And then we're going to be trading off inline CSS with class identification and selectors, and perhaps just a tiny bit of structuring and styling on the front end. But the intent and purposes of these upcoming assignments from here forth are we're going to be using CSS, and we're going to be referring it in our HTML document. And of course, I'm going to be showing you guys how to do that. First step that we have to do is move this out of the way. Save and close. All right. So we're going back to the back end of our file manager. I went a little bit blank there. But yes, we're going to be going again through the back end of our file manager, and this can be found in Infinity Free. And I noticed that some of you guys are using HostGator and a couple of other ones out there, which is perfectly fine as long as you have your file manager or ready and available to drop in your documents. That'd be perfectly fine. Or if you're working with Infinity Free, you can start also by directly from Infinity Free. You can start by adding a new file. Remember, to declare a new file in your editor, you must have the ending tag HTML at the end, to identify it as a web document. If you have, I'm very sure some of you have learned that not having this particular naming convention will not allow you to view it on the front end. So let's look into our new HTML document, and I'm going to give away some of the information that I'm going to be requesting. Okay, this is actually the wrong document, but perfectly fine because we're going to go over it in a bit as well. All right, so I'm giving you guys a glimpse of the upcoming assignment, and it looks like a lot, but it really isn't, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating divs according to dates. And I picked this particular topic, a student diary, because we can clearly denote our divs using days of the week. So we're going to have 5 separate divs, and within those divs, I'm going to have either ordered lists or unordered lists to describe, some of the activities you do throughout the day. Now, these can be fictional. Just the reason behind it is so that we can find a purpose to have separation in classes, and it'll clearly denoting your classes by class ID, um, such as days of the week. I find a little bit better than having div one, div two, div three, div four, div five, etc. To clearly um, tie those in with your CSS, because you're going to be creating 2 separate sets of code, one in CSS and one in HTML, and they kind of have to talk to each other. So on your front end, very much what you've done before is your introduction page, where you have just a little bit of information. You do not have to put your student ID, but it can be just like that. Majored, you're gonna have your own personal information. You can add a picture. This is not required to have a picture in your div, but if you want to go for that A and just want to put your skills to the test, you can do so. Should not be too much additional code to insert a picture. Just remember, of course, you have to refer it back to your images folder. All right. So we talked about how we're going to be creating separate div classes. On our assignment, I'm going to be expecting for each of these div classes to be separate colors or different colors. On our CSS page, I'll be showing you how to do that exactly. Right. A slight difference, we will not be seeing any inline styles in your HTML. But what we will be doing, we're going to be trading those off for something called IDs and classes. So here, I clearly identified my div 1 of 5 as Monday, day of the week. And this will be easy for me to recognize it on my CSS. Also, I've added ordered and unordered, well, in this particular case, an unordered listing, and denoted with these tags. But you can clearly see those in the front end, how you have your bullet points, and you have your they fall into the margins, and they fall into a little bit more organized view of the front end. So having those additional styles does help in making it look appealing. Now I've created div IDs for each of the divs, as well as our footer, as well as our div class menu bar. And I'll show you exactly what that does for you guys. So in the top, from top to bottom, I created a link button, and this one's going to span all over the place, but you can format yours to do any particular sizing. You can make small, you can make to the left, you can make to the right, but the point is, having this element here should take you to our page 2. And it should also be clearly noted as week 6 page 2. I identified week 6 page 2.html. You've created a new document. You set your new document. Okay, and this you can literally quite copy paste from your previous assignment, but I want to have you guys create a div class for it and label it, in this particular case, form container div class. I want you guys to just you have to create a div in the first place to create a form within it, and then label your div. so that you can add styles from your CSS style sheet. This tag is very, very important. Reason being is you're identifying that you need to link a page from somewhere else, and then you're telling it where you want it from. So remember, folks, if you have this set in a folder called week 6, it'll look like week 6, and then close, and then /. So you want to have a little bit more organizational. That's perfectly fine. So you want to create a folder called week 6 and nest all of your 4 pages in there, just for the sake of being able to have everything more organized. Perfectly fine. Make sure you just label your or compensate for those additional / and folder names. I know this is a little messy, but um, I wanted you guys to have a clear view of your upcoming assignments, how they're going to be spread out. So we've taken the elements from week 1, and I have colorings here. I have a blue background on my header. I have a div within there with student information with a separate color. I have 5 other divs clearly labeled as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I have them set in my CSS sheet. And to start creating CSS, it's the same way. You can create a new document, new file, but the ending has to be .css. Follow the same type of naming conventions. In this particular case, I chose to use style sheet week 6. And for any additional page you want to have these elements in a CSS page incorporated, as I mentioned before, it has to be stated as a link page and then reference it back to the name of the CSS file. All right. Hope that wasn't too complicated. Let's look at front end again. Our third page is going to be the easiest page of all. Our second page, we're taking the form information. Remember, folks, we're only working with HTML for the time being. We're going to be ending creating a button just like your last assignment, but it's not going to really do anything. We have not configured JavaScript just yet, so that's why you see my note. My note states, JavaScript is not configured yet. So even if you do were to click, I have no other script to tell it what to do, other than to send it to a blank page in Oblivion. So I added a little link that's going to take me to the third page, or it's going to take you all to a third page. And this was done very easily with another href linking to another page, which is now called week 6 page 3. And all it is a feedback confirmation page. So for instance, later on when you create your personal projects, you're going to be requesting information, and that same information is going to require some type of confirmation, or at least to put your clients at ease that the information was in fact submitted. This page concludes that, creates a confirmation saying that comment was received and thank you for your feedback. Just a little. So this is nothing more than just text. But what we've done here, page 3, what we've done is actually taking our header, our head tag, and incorporated everything that we've done in the CSS style sheet. So we're going to be adding CSS to the head tag. We're going to be adding CSS to our body, and we're going to be adding CSS to our footer, and we're going to be adding CSS to divs by class, or a body tag will override the div class. Okay. Should not be too hard, but I understand where some of you might start getting a little bit frantic in understanding the concept behind the CSS, especially in the selector section. So we mentioned before, in order to clearly start adding attributes to your tags, and I mentioned something very special about using an HTML editor, is that it'll allow you to autofill some of those sections just to be able to have a clear reference point. For instance, if we're opening up a CSS into our body tag, it's telling you here, okay, this is exactly where it's going to go. Our body tags, anywhere any of the pages that are linked to the CSS page will be clearly noted in our body tag with any and all attributes that are within. Now I start messing with some of this here, then it's gonna be a worldwide issue. I mean, an attribute that spans the whole site, not just one page or the 2 pages. It's everywhere and anywhere the CSS is connected to or linked by. We mentioned our header. Same thing. It's going to span through all the pages of your website that are labeled with or linked with the CSS. We talked about the menu bar, and we added black background to the menu bar. You can add any color. It doesn't have to be black. And let's go back. All right. This is a tell me what you think kind of bar. As you can tell, there's no other HTML here, but there's no CSS in the HTML. It's the separation of the classes here, or the separation of the codes. Mentioned before, some of your element ID tags, there is something missing here deliberately, so you all won't be able to copy paste, refer to W3 schools and or your video log assignments on your book to correct this issue. But I do need to see different colored backgrounds to each of the divs that are labeled Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So any color, just not gray. All right. So that is a homework assignment for this upcoming week. And we saw the header, I'm sorry, the footer. Footer, where is our footer? There's our footer. All right. Our footer, denoted by a class. Like I mentioned before, there is a deliberate override that's setting these colors. And it's only in my CSS page. So you're gonna have to create your own CSS page to create those colors and add them onto each of the divs. All right. Remember, folks, there is a grading rubric, and it's gonna be having any and all missing attributes be deducted with points, and follow the rubric, and you'll see how those points will be deducted as far as any of the missing elements or attributes, or even pages. If you're missing the CSS page altogether, if the URL doesn't work, if the zip files aren't submitted, Any and all missing elements or attributes or pages will be points off. Right. So this concludes the video for our lab assignment for week 6. Once again, if you need to reach me on Monday afternoon, I do have a virtual uh, meeting set. All you have to do is click and join, and from the discussion page, you should be able to find the link. And I should be in between 6 and 7 on Mondays. And if you need to reach out, please either send me an email, send me a private message on Blackboard, and we should be able to uh, fulfill any questions regarding the assignments. Also, if you've been falling behind, also please reach out so you can have a dedicated time set to finish those assignments. If you have not finished week 5, I will allow them now. Um, Now that I've graded all the other assignments, you shall if you submitted them, you have a grade by now. If you have not submitted them, you have a chance to be able to submit them with a 10-point deduction. That goes also with any other prior assignments that have not been turned in yet. If it's a week 4 assignment, 20 points off. It's a week there, week 3 assignment, 30 points off. If we follow that throughout. I always say a score better than a 50 or 60 or 70 is better than a 0. So please get those assignments in. And if you need to reach me and to make up the exam itself, also reach out and we'll have a time set so you can finish that within a particular time frame so I can submit those grades.